warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Welcome to Future Millennials Podcast. I'm Anis, your host for today. And for those who don't know, or this is your first time watching, this podcast is a platform for millennials to get inspiration in facing the challenges of today and the digital world. And you can watch our podcast on our YouTube, IIUM FM, and do check us out on our social media. We are on Instagram at IIUM_FM and on TikTok at IIUM.FM. And today's episode is another exciting episode of Future Millennials with the collaborations of IIUM Gombak Peers. So for those who are wondering, IIUM Gombak Peers is a club under the purview of Counseling and Career Services Center in IIUM. So do follow them on their Instagram at Peers IIUM. Around you, for you. And today, we're very pleased to have someone who can share with us her experience in the counseling area in the IIUM environment. So welcome, Miss Amirah to Future Millennials. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. What about you?
I'm good. A little nervous, but I'm excited to have today's discussions.
Okay, I'm nervous as well, but let's just do this.
Yes. Okay, so we are honored to have a very special guest with us. So Miss Amirah is a distinguished counselor with a mission to spread awareness about mental health and positivity. So Miss Amirah is currently serving at the Counseling and Career Services Center at IIUM, where she specializes in areas like psychology and mental health, with a background that includes a master's degree in professional counseling and a bachelor's degree in psychology. Miss Amirah has been actively conducting individuals and group counseling sessions, organizing impactful mental health programs, and advocating for mental well-being among the community. Miss Amirah's journey is as inspiring as her patients. So beyond her work, she has also been a voice for mental health as a speaker on platforms like MHI TV, Zayan FM, and ML Studio. So maybe our viewer here seen Miss Amirah before, especially in those programs like ML Studios, or maybe on social media like TikTok. I think I saw you on TikTok. So her dedication has led her to publish research addressing the challenges faced by parents of children with autism, adding to her expertise in special education and behavioral therapy. So Ms. Amirah's vibrant personality and determination to spread positivity make her an invaluable resource and an inspiring figure for all of us. So get ready for an insightful conversation as we dive into her experience and valuable insights. So for our viewer, especially those who are curious about mental health and maybe CCSC, so this episode is packed with valuable insight on mental health and the Counseling and Career Services Center in IIUM. So, and the topic that we will discuss today with Ms. Amirah is nurturing resilience. So let's start our discussion with the first question. So the topic today is nurturing resilience. So maybe some of us doesn't actually understand what does resilience or nurturing resilience means. So maybe Miss Amirah can share from your perspective, or maybe how the CCSC define resilience in the context of IIM students and why it is important.
Okay, alright, thank you, sister. So I'm very happy to be here, okay, first of all, and to share about mental health and also how CCSC can help students to nurture their resilience. Okay, so when we talk about resilience, we have to understand first what it means, right? So resilience is actually the ability for someone to bounce back from whatever challenges that they have faced. Okay, so it's like sponge. So when you squeeze it, it will be like squeeze, like the shape squeeze, but when you let it go, it becomes the usual shape lah, kan? So that is what resilience is about. So whenever you have challenges, you overcome that challenges. You are stressed, so you are being pushed. But once you are able to overcome the stress, you are back to your normal self. So that is what resilience is all about. So when we talk about resilience in the form or in the context of IIUM students, I think As a counselor, so I have dealt with many issues related to our students. I can say our students, many of our students are very resilient, because to compare our counseling sessions with other universities, we have more sessions compared to other students from different universities. So I would say the fact that our students come and seek help, that is a form of resilience itself. It doesn't mean that you don't have to have problems to be resilient. It just simply means when you have problems, you acknowledge that you have something to overcome and you seek help. That is also a form of resilience. And I think IIUM students, you do have that resilience, okay? And the fact that our students, we have more credit hours compared to students from other universities kan. So that itself shows you are resilient. You just need to find that strength that you have to know that I can be resilient in any situation, not just in academics, because as students, you are not just a student, you are a son or daughter, you are a sister or brother. You have so many caps actually. So talking about students, you're not just going to talk about your stress with academics, but how your relationship is with your family, your friends. So resilience is you are able to overcome all of these stressors.
So I can say that I am a student is like a strong student, because like even though a lot of challenges and a lot of credit hour, can still like be a good a strong person, right? Okay, for the next questions, Ms. Amirah, can you share what services does CCSC provide to nurture resilience among students, especially in IIUM?
Okay, so the services that we provide, there are a lot actually, so many. So I would say as IIUM students, you should be happy that you have so many services that we provide for you. It's just that I think maybe some students are not aware of these services. So for example, of course, as the counseling, the main service provider for mental health issues, we provide counseling service. So it could be individual sessions or group sessions. We provide clinical assessment. So just to let you all know, not every university have clinical psychologists. So many universities, they only have counselors. So counselors, we have limitations. We cannot provide diagnosis. We cannot provide assessment for mental health condition. So there are limitations. Okay, so counselors, we can do screening on mental health condition, but in order to do diagnosis, we need clinical psychologists to do that, or psychiatrists. So for us, we have clinical psychologists with us, and then she will do the diagnosis, do the interventions. So that is one of the advantage that we have here at CCSC. So we do provide clinical diagnosis, and then we have career programs, because when we talk about mental health, you as a student, you are not just talking about academics. You are going to think about your future, right? And that can cause anxiety, can cause other mental health issues. So we provide career structured programs for the students. In terms of programs, we have a lot programs that we have already conducted this year alone. If you want to know what programs that we have done, you can follow our social media, because we usually promote the programs there. We will post the posters and all, so you can join. We have what else? We have group therapy sessions. So we have group counseling session, we have group therapy session. So group counseling session is like you talk about your issues in a group, and then we are going to repeat for a few sessions. But group therapy sessions could be like art therapy, so we do it like one-off session together and brush up your skills there. So there are a lot of programs that we have done, the services that we provide for the students. So you need to be aware of what are the things that's coming from us. And also, I think this is also important for me to highlight. For IIUM students, we have mental health policy for the students. Okay, those who are diagnosed, who have official diagnosis with mental illness, you are actually having the privilege to be accommodated to certain accommodation lah. For example, for those with autism, let's say autism lah. So maybe they have the privilege to have a longer duration during exam. So it depends on your condition, but not to say you can use your mental illness card or mental health card. So we will not simply lah macam if you say you have mental illness, you can always get the accommodation. No, it's not like that. We need to assess first. So it's important to have diagnosis first for us to assess how you are doing, your mental condition, in order for you to get that privilege. So it depends on the severity lah. Okay. So it's important to highlight this because I think not many are aware. We do have mental health policy for students, and I think we are among the leading university that come out with that. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like services. Like me myself, I don't know. So now I know, and it's like the services is the same as like the programs that organized by CCSC, or just like different. The services is, but there are also programs.
Yeah, we do have programs as well. Under CCSC, from the counselors, from the clinical psychologists, and we also have peers, IIUM, that is under our purview. So they are also conducting many kinds of programs. So actually, every year we're gonna have so many programs, and especially during October and May, it's gonna be packed with programs because May, mental health awareness month. For October is National Counselling Month. So May and October, you need to be ready for our programs.
Right. So you talk about like peers just now, right? So can you tell us about the primary goals of peers IIUM and how it serves the IIUM student community?
Alright, so the main goal that we have IIUM peers is for them to support our center, because just having like I think eight counselors and one clinical psychologist, I think it will not be enough for us to cater all students here. And some students feel like they are more comfortable to talk to their peers. So the main goal is that for us to have this layer of students who can support us in terms of delivering mental health support. So they are not professionals, but at least they can provide the support that some students need. Okay, because we understand there are limitations in terms of manpower, because we are lack of counselors and clinical psychologists to cater every students who need our help. So at least before they get the appointments from us, they have this layer who can listen to them, who can show empathy before they reach to the professional help. So that is actually our main goal. And on top of that, they help us to deliver programs. So like right now, the Around You For You Week is one of the programs that they are organizing just to make IIUM students have something to look forward to learn something about mental health. So I think they are a very big help to us and to the students in IIUM.
So peers is like open for everyone, right? So
Yeah.
I can be a peers.
You can be peers too. We're gonna open the registration for new members soon, I guess. Not soon, I think second semester, like usually second semester.
Right, that's good to hear. But if you want to be a peers, is it like there's like any like condition, like any, or do we need to go to like interview or anything?
Yes, we do have interview session just to get to know each other better, and just for the members, before you join as members, you know what is expected and whether you feel comfortable to join us. So I don't call it as like interview, it's more as like get to know session. So whether macam you feel comfortable or not to join us. So it can be of different backgrounds. We are welcoming different course students from different course, because we want everyone from every kuliah, there are peers around, because people or students around the kuliah can have someone to talk to, someone to reach out to. So we are pretty much open to anyone to join us.
Right. I'll put it in mind. Maybe next semester I'll try.
Yeah,
and to join.
Join us.
Okay, so maybe some people are aware like how the goodness and like the benefits of this programs or CCSC services, but maybe there are some people who are still skeptical, or maybe like they're not really sure whether CCSC can actually give the services that they want. So maybe you can share some of the benefits that maybe students get from accessing the CCSC services.
Okay. So we cannot force people to get services from us. So there are people who are open to get the help they need, and there are certain people who feel like they are scared. I would say scared, not ready to get help. So in terms of benefit, of course, if you are open to get help, you are more ready to take on the next step. But for those who still feel scared, not ready, so these are the challenges, I would say, because we cannot force people to get help from us. Okay, but if you get access to our help, inshallah there are a lot of benefits, because first thing is you will gain insight on your condition. You will know what is going on. Things may be a little bit more clearer to you. So sometimes when we are stressed or we have issues, we have certain conditions, we are so overwhelmed, our mind is too occupied, so we can't think straight. So you need someone to, hear you out, to make you be more rational in the way you think. So I would say that's one of the benefits if you get the help you need, especially coming to CCSC, come and get the counseling or consultation from the clinical psychologist. So a lot of benefits that you'll gain. But again, as I mentioned, it comes back to the individual whether you are ready or not. And it's okay if you're not ready. Okay, maybe there are certain conditions that make you feel that way, but hopefully you will gain the strength and courage to come and seek help from us, because I guarantee you will get the benefits lah, the recovery, the growth that you need.
Okay, so that I know, like when it comes to this kind of things, like it's concerned about our well-being. Of course, there are a lot of benefits, right? If we want to talk about benefits only, maybe it's longer.
Yeah.
CCSC is Counseling and Care Services Center, right? So it's not only concerned about the well-being of the mental health of the student, but also the career, like maybe the academic performance of the students. So some student may feel like they're still like don't know, maybe they aren't sure about their courses now, like they are taking the right path. So how does CCSC integrates career counseling into its range of services? And how does it help students in navigating their career path while also managing their well-being?
Alright. So at CCSC we have two offices. We have counseling office, we have career office. Okay, so for the career office, they look further into your career path, your interests, your future, so everything related to after you have finished with your study lah. But not say just after, but while you are studying, they will also provide help lah. For example, they do career profiling. So career profiling is when they match you to the course that is suitable with your personality, with your interests. So that's career profiling. So you can get to know what's your prospect if you take this course, and are you in the course that you really enjoy or prefer. So that's career profiling. And then they also have a lot of other career programs, like career zoomers, so they engage you with companies. So a lot of programs to prepare you for the next step after you finish with your study. So you will feel more secured, and you will feel more confident of what you are gonna be, what you're gonna do after this, because of course university is temporary, right? You're not gonna be here forever, so you have to prepare yourself for the future. And talking about career also contributes to mental health issues. So if you have issue later on in finding jobs, or in terms of the study, course that you're taking. So of course you're going to get stressed, you're going to have mental health problems later on. So I would say career counseling is also essential service that we give to the students in navigating their life as a student and also the life after university.
Okay, so so I want to ask back to the peers questions. So how does peers IIUM equip its members with the knowledge and the skills to support their peers effectively?
Okay, that's interesting. Actually, every university have peers. Okay, so every university have peers. It's like PRS dekat sekolah kan. Like at school we have pembimbing rakan sebaya, but in university we have pembimbing rakan siswa. It's peers lah basically. So for our peers, what is special is that we have specialized module. Okay, it's module training module. We have what else? We have credit hours for the peers members that they need to go through. So total is like 100 hours for this members. Okay, but it's not for one semester lah. It's for over 2 years period. So 100 credit hour ni for them to undergo trainings from the counsellors and clinical psychologists. They have to go to do CSR. They have to do projects related to mental health. So actually this is part of their project lah. So nanti I will give them the hours that they deserve. So that's basically how we equip our peers members with the skills to help those the students around them. So basically they are the junior counsellor because they already have the skills taught directly from the counsellor and clinical psychologist. So that's the way it is lah. So 100 credit hours.
Okay, 100 credit hour sounds a lot. I mean, okay, so talking about today's topic, nurturing resilience, I have one question like being on my mind since this morning. How does some people, I mean maybe myself, I found it like hard to not, okay, we have things that we can control and we cannot control, right? But sometimes people worry too much about things that they cannot control. So how do we focus on the only thing that we can control and stop being worried about things that is out of our control?
Okay, so basically managing your thoughts, is it? Like you know that there are things that we can control and there are things we can't control. But of course, as a human being, there will be times that we go to the mode where we're thinking too much. Where we call it as overthinking lah. Okay, so during this time, we are not rational, I would say. We are thinking too much about what's gonna happen, or we try to get control over things that is beyond what we can do. Okay, I would say what will help is for you to try to practice grounding techniques. Have you heard of grounding techniques?
I just heard like before this session there's like
grounding.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically when we are engaging with those kind of thoughts, like we know these are things we can't control, these are things we can control, but it's just that we can't figure things out rationally during that time, meaning that our mind is like very overwhelmed with so many thoughts. So when we are in this condition, we need something to ground us, to make us focus on what is happening right now. Okay, so the grounding method really helps. So how to practice grounding method is with us using our 5 senses. So our 5 senses, we have our sense of sight, our sense of touch, our sense of hearing, sense of smell, and also sense of taste. Okay, so these 5 senses are really useful when in the situation where we are too overwhelmed. So the step is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whenever you are too overwhelmed, you are lost in your thoughts, you have to ground yourself. 5 things you can see around you, 4 things that you can feel or touch. So touch means it doesn't require you to touch everything. It's just simply you trying to focus on what are the sensations on your body. For example, right now I can feel my glasses on my nose. Okay, so that is sense of touch. And then sense of hearing, you have to focus on 3 things that you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste in your mouth. So when you do this grounding indirectly, your brain has to switch, okay, from thinking about so many things to focusing on these five senses. So indirectly it cuts the thought about all these things that you can control and you can't control. So that's grounding. And then another good thing is that when you use your five senses, you are using it during that time. You can't use your five senses in the future or in the past. So when you do this grounding, it somehow makes you come back to the present. So you are here and you notice, okay, I am actually in library, I am sitting on a chair, I am comfortable in my outfit, because you use your five senses. So that helps with issue of having so many thoughts in your mind and you don't know how to stop it. So grounding is like one of the ways for you to indirectly shuts down your thoughts, because your brain can't do two things at once. It can't overthink, it can't focus on your five senses. So you using your five senses will be a great way for you to at least shut down that thoughts for a while.
Continue this discussion with a question about peers. How does Peers IIUM equip its member with the knowledge and skills to support their peers effectively?
Okay, thank you, sister. I think this is a good time to highlight about our peers members. So basically, every university have their own peers. Okay, maknanya every university ada peers. They have peers. It's just the name will be different. Okay, and similar like schools, we have PRS, pembimbing rakan sebaya, but here it's pembimbing rakan siswa. It's like one level down lah. So what is special about our peers here, and it's different from other peers from other universities, is because we have our module. So this module is structured module in which we provide trainings, we provide the programs for these peers members to go through, and everything will be totaled up to 100 contact hours. Okay, so it's like 100 contact hours for every programs, for every trainings that they have gone through. So it's the trainings are directly from our counselors and clinical psychologists, so they gain the knowledge and skills from us. And then the programs as well, like for example, like this Around You For You week is also part of the project that they need to do in order for them to gain the contact hours. So I will give the the contact hours that they deserve. And so I would say they are very, very skilled and equipped with the knowledge that they are supposed to have to help their members, their group mates, teammates, and all the students here in IIUM. So basically they are like the junior counselors that we have. So there's the layers before you go for the professional help from counselors, clinical psychologists at CCSC. So they will be able to at least provide the support that students need. And it's not going to be professional counseling session or therapy session, but at least they can provide emotional support. They can listen to their peer members' issues. So those are the things like we call as psychological first aid for those in need. Yeah.
So it's contact hours like not in the class, right? Like, or we have theoretical and practical.
Yeah, 100 contact hours basically, like for example, if they attend one of the trainings, is considered as 2 contact hours already. So one training is like 2 contact hours, and then they have what else? They have the projects that they need to do. It's like 10 contact hours already. So it depends on the heaviness of the module that they need to cover.
I see. So we want to ask last question before we continue to the Q&A session. So how accessible are CCSC services for students from diverse cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds? Because
Alright, so as counselors, clinical psychologists, and mental health service provider, of course, we provide services across culture, across backgrounds. So meaning there's no discrimination towards any group of people. And when I was a student, counseling student, we even have this subject course called as multicultural counseling, in which we learn about how to deal with people of different culture, what are some sensitive things that we need to bear in mind. So I would say CCSC is very much accessible despite whatever culture, whatever socio-economic backgrounds that you have, and the services are all free. Okay, it's free of service. So as students, you can just come to us, and if you need session, just book on iMaklum. We don't have any discrimination if you are Malaysian or not, because our clients, they are diverse, so we cater to any sort of background. So there's no specific people who can access to our service.
Yeah, that's nice here, because maybe some of the students, especially international students, they are like maybe scared, or maybe feel like in different places because they're international, right? So they don't feel at home. So with CCSC services, I think everyone, especially students, should take this opportunity and go and use the services that CCSC already provide. So now we want to move on to the Q&A session. So for any audience who wants to ask questions, you can raise up your hands.
I have a question. So counselors often advocate for students to build their resilience to stand on their own. But what about the counselors? Who support the counselors to build and maintain their own resilience?
Okay, thank you, brother, for the interesting question. Because we talk about students, right? Like how students can be resilient. What are the services that we provide for the students? And now it's from the counselors POV. Okay, like what about the counselors? Okay, honestly, being a mental health service provider is not an easy job, because you have to be to have empathy, and you have to put all your judgment and your opinions aside, because you have to listen first. So it can be really, really challenging. It can be really, really exhausting sometimes. But we do have support system among us. So among the counselors, we have like professional discussion among us. So meaning that if there are cases that we think is a bit challenging, we discuss together, but still remaining the confidentiality of the client, meaning we're discussing the issue but not the client's information. So this way we have like a support system, and also we gain insight. Okay, how can we help this client? What are better ways or strategies that we can come up with to make sure this client can grow? And some people also ask, does counselor or clinical psychology see other therapists? Yes, we do. Even for me myself, sometimes I go for a counseling session if I am too overwhelmed. So to talk about resilience, pretty much the same, because mental health service provider are also humans, and the fact that we have issues means that we can understand our clients better.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question. Is there any books or resources that you can recommend to us for improving our mental health?
Books?
Books or any resources?
Oh, resources. I think there are a lot of resources in terms of understanding mental health better. Nowadays we have a lot of resources, like online, offline. If you are into books, I think you can go to like trusted publisher. Like I can recommend, like if you are into Malay self-help book, I think Iman Publication has some really good books, and their authors are also memang trusted authors lah. They are in the background. Okay, I was also offered to be one of the writers, but we'll see in the future maybe. And then what else? In terms of social media, I think if you want to gain resources, make sure to study the background of the content creator first, because I think it's a very very useful tool, like social media and also like YouTube channels. I think this generation, you are many of us, I'm not from this generation now, but many of them thinks they prefer video compared to like reading materials. And I would say podcast channels, YouTube, social media contents, they are great tools for us to gain information. They have rich information. It's just that we have to filter certain content creators, make sure they are reliable, trusted, they are in the background, and everyone can share any kinds of contents, but we have to filter which is the source yang reliable lah. Okay.
I think that's all for our Q&A session. So as we wrap up, so can you give like one last advice to the students about building resilience that lasts beyond university life?
Alright. First thing is that if you are not okay, you have to acknowledge that first. If you don't acknowledge that you have issues, you have problems, then of course you cannot move forward, because you're going to be stuck there. So in order for you to build resilience, you need to be able to identify where's the limit and where or when to seek for help. So I think that's the most important part to build resilience, to move from university life and to the next levels, not just trying to think what I'm gonna do next, but at the same time you have to be fully transparent with how you feel about yourself and be comfortable to seek help. I think that's the most important part.
Alright, thank you, Ms. Amirah, for those wonderful advice. And that's actually marks the end of our discussion today. Thank you again, Ms. Amirah, for coming here.
For having me.
And thank you for all the audience and viewers. And of course, thank you to IIUM Gombak peers for willing to collaborate with IIUM FM. So as usual, if you want to watch our podcast, you can watch it on YouTube, IIUM FM. And do follow us on our social media, on Instagram at IIUM_FM, on TikTok at IIUM.FM, and do also follow IIUM Gombak Peers on Instagram at IIUM Peers at Peers IIUM, around you for you. So last but not least, as we know, we're collaborating with Peers Gombak, so we will have a special tributes for what happened in the week with IIUM Gombak Peers. So enjoy the video and see you later, Future Millennials. Goodbye and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.